our pallet, I believe, has arrived. We haven't gotten a phone call yet, but we can see the mailboat. So we're gonna go spend the day probably sitting on the city docks and figure it out. No idea how it's gonna go. Came to the mailboat dock to get our shipment, stood in line, and then come to find out that because it's an import from the U.S. as opposed to just coming from Nassau, it's got to go into customs, so they'll take that over there today, and we have to register, which they never told me about. Ends up I was talking to the customs lady who's I was looking for. I've called her multiple times and left messages, and very nice when you talk to them, but it's just, you never know what's going on. So they told me Friday, which I guess, what's today, Wednesday? Mm-hmm. So 2 days, we can go pick it up. But they got to haul it halfway down the island to the customs office. So we're going to have to find a way to haul, 400 or 500 pounds of batteries back to the dock. I was hoping they could just unload it off the boat, set it on the dock, and I could just load it onto my boat. But nothing's ever that simple. So I guess we'll just send her the information she asked for, and we'll try again in a couple days. Welcome to the Bahamas.
So here's the story of the Wandering Naps. We are a family of 5 from Texas. Chris and Jolene met in 2nd grade and started dating our freshman year of high school. We got married in college, moved to Texas, and had 3 boys. Carter, Chase, and Caleb. We love to travel, so we bought a boat, spent 14 months in the Florida Keys, working, repairing, saving, and waiting. Join us on our journey as we travel, explore, and learn. I missed jalapeno poppers. I saw someone post on Instagram their jalapeno poppers, and I was like, oh, like a Texas girl just wants some jalapeno poppers. So I've never seen them at the grocery store until today, and we saw some jalapenos at the grocery store. I grabbed them. I'm doing that. Cut them, de-seed them, and then I'm going to put sour cream, onion, not sour cream, cream cheese.
There you go.
Sour cream would be gross. Cream cheese, onion. We usually put chicken in it. I don't have chicken, so we're going to find something else, and then wrap it in bacon, and then we're going to just boil it. Bake it today instead of grill it. So, jalapeno poppers! Woo! Since the mailboat wasn't really a successful trip and we couldn't get our parts and batteries, we're gonna hike around. On Stocking Island, there's a monument way up here on the hill. And everybody writes their names down here. Makes their names with rocks, and then from the top you can see the names. And it's really cool. It's like something every cruiser, boater, sailor does. And it's really neat to see all the different names here. We wrote our names, so now we are hiking up to the top of the monument to see it from up high.
Today is Friday. Mailboat came in on Wednesday with our shipment, and we were told we have to check back a couple days later for after it went through customs and all that good stuff. So we're now waiting for our ride to go up to the International Customs Office, I think. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's where they moved our freight to, so we'll go deal with that. That's been kind of an issue, trying to figure out what we have to pay and what we don't, and everything along the way you kind of have to dispute. So we'll definitely share that with you later on once we get it finalized and figured out how it went. But and then we got the ship came in at the dock where we wanted to bring our boat to load it, and then they moved it away from the dock. So now we have to get someone to give us a ride because it's heavy stuff, and it's just always something. It's Bahamas style though. Nothing is easy. Nobody actually tells you or offers information in advance. Mailboat didn't tell us that they automatically put insurance on everything, and then they just decided what the value was, and so we got probably double what they charged me, insured for double what it should have been, and that doubled the price of the shipping. And then we were told, no duty or no VAT on boat parts if you have a cruising permit, and now we're told no duty, but there is VAT, and again, that's a huge chunk of money there. You just never get, good morning, bud. You just never get a straight answer, and no one offers it up front. You have to go through and fight every little step of the way and ask questions on everything. Otherwise, they're just gonna bend you over and you pay whatever they feel like charging you. To start off with, I had to go down and meet my broker. The broker takes care of all the paperwork for you, checks it in, and figures out the VAT and the duty that's owed. I thought I was just going to go and pay a fee and pick up my freight. It turns out she's going to hand me all the paperwork she figured, then she's going to send me back to the other side of the island, back to Georgetown where I started my day, and I'm going to have to pay them. I asked them a question about duty, and they took my paperwork. About 10 minutes later, they went line item by line item through it, moved me around, and then I finally got to pay because everything was in order. When that was done, I waited about 30 minutes to make some copies, and then I was finally done. Back to go pick up my freight. Once I'm back where the broker and the freight were, it was now time to pay the broker. They work for the mailboat and for customs, but they're also their own business, so I had to pay her a $75 fee for her services. Then I was able to go back and finally pick up my freight. We feel extremely blessed to have met Dallas and Tamara. They have a pickup truck and were willing to give us a ride to pick up our freight, load it in the truck, and then it was back to the government dock. At that point, I took the dinghy back across the harbor, picked up the big boat, and brought it back into the government dock, where I also picked up our Canadian friends who got some parts as well, and between all of us, we got the boat loaded, batteries, extra parts, finally got it done. Let's break down exactly this whole shipping process. It is confusing, and one of the things you'll learn about, especially the Bahamian government, they don't tell you all the steps. They tell you one thing, and then you get that done, they're like, oh, now you got to do this. You get that thing. Oh, now you got to do this. Not just in this. We have our buddy boat who had to register a boat, and went through all kinds of steps. We found it in multiple areas of the government here, or any big company really. So we bought about $4,500 of parts between me and our buddy boat. We bought batteries, we bought some wiring. We had some friends pick up some provisions that we can't have trouble getting down here because they're crazy expensive. For example, Jolene bought 4,000 cases of salsa, or just 2,000?
A lot.
I think it was like 24 jars of salsa. We got a couple of flats of canned beans. You know, you get the beans up in the States for 40 cents a can. Here they're $3 a can. So we went ahead and took the time, since we're shipping a whole pallet down anyway. We got some other stuff that we wanted to get in. So let's back up. About $4,000 of stuff. The reason we didn't just ship it in like via another service was because everything was so expensive. Batteries are heavy. We had I had 3 batteries that weighed 161 pounds a piece, and then their batteries were 4 at like 60, 70 pounds a piece. That's heavy. At $2 a pound on an airplane coming over, plus hazmat fees, plus everything else, really, really expensive. We, after calling all around, we talked with Seacorp Island Lines, we talked with, like I say, a couple of different air freight companies, and we settled on the mailboat. We knew the service wasn't going to be as good. It wasn't going to be phenomenal service, but they were the cheapest. Interestingly enough, when the time the ship left to the time it arrived was 4 or 5 days, it was very quick. It's the lack of communication and knowing what's going on, which is so frustrating. So Randall and Aranya, our friends up in the Keys, they went and picked up everything that I'd ordered from 4 or 5 different stores. Thank you guys so much for doing that. They drove it to Miami. They have offices in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Batteries are considered, I think, a hazmat, and so they had to go to Miami because Miami only deals with hazmat, Fort Lauderdale does not. He drove up there, dropped them off. They palletized them. He loaded everything on a pallet, wrapped it up, set it to go. The price was supposed to be $210 for a pallet, which is 40 by 48 inches, up to 36 inches tall. And if you go to 60 inches, it jumps $50. We got a bill from the mailboat for $438. Double what I was expecting. Part of that is they put insurance on everything without telling you. So I paid $180 in $180 in ocean freight. Then they have a $32 landing fee, and then a $48 and change bunker surcharge, which is like fuel. I paid an almost $10 pallet charge. They charged me almost $19 to shrink wrap it, and then they charged a $13 fee for B exchange, which I think is Bahamas exchange. There was almost $140 in insurance. What was frustrating to me is they valued what shows. I give them all my receipts, about $4,500, and they decided to value my insurance for $7,753. And you pay a percentage of that. So my background with shipping and everything that was going on, I wouldn't have paid for insurance because, from my experience, if you have the insurance and something happens, they find some way to weasel out of it. So I'll take the risk. Most stuff shows up okay. But by the time it got here and I found out there was insurance, their excuse is, oh, if the ship's already landed, it made transit with insurance. We can't refund it now. They do that, and I've talked to no less than 3 other people in the Bahamas. We're talking people that live here full time, people that are residents of the Bahamas, and they're like, oh yeah, that we all got caught the first time too. So that's the first thing. Can you call and ask? And this is what I'm talking about, the service. And it was not just them. Seacorp, in my opinion, wasn't any better. You'd call up and say, hey, I'm trying to ship this, what do I do? Oh, you need this, and here's the rate. No one mentioned insurance. No one says, bring it down here, talk to so-and-so, we'll palletize it. It's this much to palletize it. They don't give you any of that information, which is super frustrating. They didn't even give us paperwork. They wrote my name on a sticker, Chris Knapp, Exuma, Bahamas, phone number. Put it on the label. I didn't get paperwork or have any paperwork available to me until it got down to me here in Exuma. All right, let's talk duty and tax. Duty is something that is charged depending on what the item is. So they have a whole list, and it's a PDF in the Bahamas, like, I don't know, 12, 15 pages long. And you got to go find your item. and they'll tell you if you buy something and import this item, it's 12% of the value, or it's 45%. We found out that water, Jolene's LaCroix that she loves, are 100% duty. So they double the price of them before they get down here, before they add the 12% VAT, and before the company that sells them to us down here makes a markup. That's why your $3 box of LaCroix in the States costs $13.50 in the Bahamas. So provision those well if you like those. They break this down and they go through the customs broker. When you import something internationally, the customs broker does all the paperwork for you, and they don't tell you you need a customs broker or who that is. Luckily, once it was on the boat and I was trying to pick it up, the mailboat has a lady that works for them that is a customs broker. Great. They gave me her name, called her multiple times. I ended up meeting her on the dock, as you saw in that video. She goes through all my invoices, all my receipts, and decides based on what the government has decided the duty is, and she laid out all the duties. So I've got line item by line item, but she didn't tell me what she charged what on. So I ended up paying $170 in duty, basically. I have a cruising permit because I'm a foreigner. I checked in the country. I got a cruising permit. Therefore, I don't have to pay duty on boat parts to repair my cruising vessel. If you lived in the Bahamas, you still have to pay the duty. Because I'm a foreigner with a cruising permit, I do not. I thought that also meant I didn't have to pay the VAT. We've had experience with another shipping company where we shipped one or two little items. They didn't charge me VAT. Because this came in on a manifested vessel, is what they said. They have to charge me VAT. VAT stands for value added tax. Think of it like a sales tax. They don't have income tax or any other type of taxes here, so anything that comes in the country has VAT added on top to it. It is now, at this moment in time, the beginning of 2021, it is 12%. So I paid $632 and change in basically sales tax or VAT on all of our items. It's very interesting. You go to your broker, you get your paperwork, you go back across the country to customs, you pay customs. They take your money quick, and then you sit for 45 minutes. They don't tell you what they're doing. They're making copies of the paperwork to give to you. But again, they don't tell you that. Then you go back up, show them the paperwork, then you got to pay your broker. Your broker, even though she worked for kind of with customs and did customs work, and I think she also worked for the mailboat, she's her own business, so you got to pay her a fee. That's anywhere from $50 to $75. At that point, I was able to load, and you'd also pay her for the mailboat fee as well. I had a dispute with them about the amount of insurance they charged, so I've still yet to pay that. But I expect to hear from her in the next day or two, and we'll get that all sorted out, and I'll have to pay that. My gut says they're going to give some reason as to why they valued it more than what our insurance is or what the value was, and I'll still end up paying it. There's not a lot you can do about it, especially when they're holding your freight captive. I hope that answers your questions, explains kind of the process. If you have any other questions, please drop those in the comments for us below. We have some other services, like if you just want to drop in a small package to certain islands that we use called Mr. Ship It, and I can answer any questions you may have on that. Do you remember what the company was that they said they used locally here?
Reggie's.
Reggie's. If you look up Reggie's, they're who all the local Bahamians in Exuma use to fly stuff in. They don't advertise. The cruisers don't know about them. So Reggie's is out of Fort Lauderdale, and they fly a plane, I think, once a week. And they have a little bit cheaper rates than some of the other air freight carriers. They're not as cheap as a mailboat. But if you have something small that doesn't weigh a ton, again, we were dealing with hundreds of pounds of battery. All in total, to ship in one pallet from Miami to Exuma, and I don't think it matters where in the Bahamas it went. If it goes to where the mailboat's going, it's the same price. About a $4,500 pallet worth of parts and miscellaneous things. $1,300 roughly. Duty, VAT, shipping charges, insurance, all of that. I just have to say thank you so much to Randall and Rania in the Florida Keys for picking up all of our stuff, getting it all shipped in. Justin at West Marine and Alamrada, if you're watching, thank you for getting our order organized from 14 different West Marines and getting it to one for us. I got to thank Dallas and Tamara. You guys ran me back and forth across the island all day long, picked up everything, helped me maneuver through this whole process. You guys have been a huge blessing here in the Zumas, and I can't wait to come back and hang out more with you guys.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like it, and comment. We'll see you next Friday.